Alright everybody, hello and welcome to this video. Like we talked about today in class, we are going to be covering the 5 parts of a plot. So tomorrow in class, we're going to integrate what we learned from this lecture into our activity where we make a video of the 5 main parts of a plot of a story that you and your group chooses. So what are the 5 main parts of a plot, you may ask, as that's the point of this video. So there's the introduction, the rising action, the climax, the falling action, and finally the resolution. So moving forward, we're going to kind of break these down a little bit so you guys can get a better understanding of what these actually are. So first, the introduction. This is the beginning of the story, and this is where characters, background, and the setting are all revealed. So this kind of lays out the whole feel of the story. Next is the rising action. This is when events in the story become complicated and the conflict is revealed. So moving on to a little bit more excitement in the story. And conflict is essential to a plot because it ties incidents together in the story and moves the plot forward. And most of the time when people think of conflict, they think of just two people having a conflict with each other, but there's actually a couple other kinds, which we're going to talk about next. So there's 2 main kinds of conflict. There's internal and external. First, we're going to cover internal, which is the struggle within oneself. And there's really only one kind of internal, which is character versus self. And this is when the character struggles with their own soul, maybe with their physical limitations, or maybe with their choices that they make throughout the story. And then there is external conflict, which is the struggle with the force outside oneself. And so these outside forces are character versus character, character versus nature, and character versus society. Character versus character this is what most people think of, is when the character has struggles with other people. Next, there's character versus nature, which is struggles against animals, weather, environment, so like maybe losing a pet or a natural disaster or things of the sorts. And then lastly, there's character versus society, which is struggles against ideas, practices, and customs of others. Moving on to the next couple parts of a plot, we have the climax. This is the turning point, the most exciting part of the story. This leaves readers wondering what's going to happen next. Is the conflict going to be resolved? Are we going to find out what's going to happen? And we should consider this climax as a threefold phenomenon. So in the climax, the main character receives new information. They accept this information, meaning they realize it, but sometimes they don't always agree with it or like it. And then lastly, the main character acts on this information. So they make a choice that will determine whether or not the objective they want to meet is met or not. Next, we have the falling action. This is when the resolution begins and events and complications fall into place. So things start to make sense to the main character. And finally, we have the resolution, which is the final outcome of events in the story. Alrighty, so what I want you guys to do is go ahead and pause this video and go to this YouTube link and watch it's basically just a reading of the story, The Little Engine That Could, and then I will give you guys instructions when you come back. Alrighty, so I hope you guys enjoyed that cute little video. Maybe it brought you back to your childhood a little bit. I know it did me. So what I want you guys to do now is name the 5 parts of the plot of that little story that you guys were just read to. So just like in your notes, go ahead and identify what you think the 5 parts of the plot of The Little Engine That Could are, and then tomorrow in class we will talk about it in a review, and then we will also have time for you guys to ask any questions that you might have from this video and any clarification you may need. Alrighty, you guys, you did it. You made it through the video. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow.